The Fall of Rome by W.H. Auden. The piers are pummeled by the waves. In a lonely field the rain lashes an abandoned train. Outlaws fill the mountain caves. Fantastic grow the evening gowns. Agents of the fisc pursue absconding tax defaulters through the sewers of provincial towns. Private rites of magic send the temple prostitutes to sleep. All the literati keep an imaginary friend. Cerebrotonic Cato may extol the ancient disciplines, but the muscle-bound marines mutiny for food and pay. Caesar's double bed is warm, as an unimportant clerk writes, "I do not like my work," on a pink official form. Unendowed with wealth or pity, little birds with scarlet legs, sitting on their speckled eggs, eye each flu-infected city. Altogether, elsewhere vast, herds of reindeer move across, miles and miles of golden moss, silently and very fast.
Ah yes, Rome, known for its gladiators, the Colosseum, Julius Caesar, and inflation. Yeah, maybe not the first thing that comes to mind with Rome, but it turns out if these folks might have had a Bitcoin or two, they could have avoided some serious problems. Ladies and gentlemen, gather round and let's travel back in time to visit an empire that loved their Colosseum spectacles just as much as normies love their reality TV shows. The Roman Empire. Now, when you think of corruption, you might think of recent headlines of those guys in sharp suits, but oh no, Rome wrote the original book on all of this.
Move away from precious metals to something less than precious metals, and the Roman Empire famously clipped their coins. This was a debasement of the currency. There wasn't a paper currency, but it was a debasement of the currency. In the US, there's a very interesting phenomenon going on where they're not clipping coins, but when you go to the supermarket, you find that the portions of the items at the supermarket on sale are shrinking. You know, the servings on various other consumer products are getting smaller and smaller, but this price is the same. So it's very similar to that old Roman coin clipping trick from 2,000 years ago. It's another form of currency debasement, but it's hidden through cardboard and marketing and fancy presentation, but the people are nevertheless having their currency debased.
Let's talk about the Pont du Gard, a beautiful bridge, masterpiece of Roman engineering, still stands tall today. Now, why are we bringing up this ancient architecture, this marvel in a conversation about political corruption? Well, because that bridge is like the career graph of every politician. Starts off promising, then, well, you know where I'm going with this. Edward Gibbon walked along a wall and ended up penning The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. Haskell saw a bridge and thought, if Rome had been such a genius, what went wrong? It's like seeing one of those bright kids from high school later selling essential oils on Facebook. Now, during the Great Depression, we had our New Deal. Rome, not to be outdone, had its own versions of every modern policy ever. Their version of the New Deal bred in circuses. So, you know, pretty much the ancient version of Netflix and chill, but instead of binge-watching series, the Romans watched gladiators and thought, gee, why work when you can get free food and entertainment?
The American people are going to have to, because I told you, as long as we are comfortable, we don't want to rock the boat. That's why our leaders get to do anything they want. They get to lie to us. We don't care if we're lied to. How many Americans lost sleep when Tony Blinken answered that congressman? No, sir, we had nothing to do with Nord Stream 2. Then Americans went, oh, okay, if Tony Blinken says so, it must be so. But we don't care because we can still go out to a restaurant. We can still go to Best Buy and buy some electronics. We can still do this, that, and the other thing. We're comfortable. But if we're uncomfortable, and the reason is because of high energy prices brought on by stupid policy, and Tony Blinken says that, and the congressman doesn't respond with a question, we're going to say, hey, you got him there. Ask a follow-up question. Don't accept at face value. He's just saying no. Demand documents. Do a subpoena. Do an investigation. That's your job as congressman. If you're not going to do your job, we're going to put somebody in who can. He said, well, you can't because I'm part of the blob. We don't believe in the blob anymore. The blob has failed us. You see, because the blob has a duty and responsibility to the American people to keep us comfortable, to dumb us down with comfort. And if we start becoming uncomfortable, if we start questioning, how we're going to live the next day or two, the blob has failed. When the blob fails, we're going to find a replacement for the blob. So that has to happen. And I think it's going to start to happen because we are looking at the fall of Rome right now. Rome didn't fall over in one night, but what we're seeing today is the modern day version of the collapse of Rome. America is Rome. We are collapsing. The empire is collapsing. The rules-based international order is collapsing. The petrodollar is collapsing. American military-based hegemony is collapsing. And as it collapses, the American people are going to pay the price. We're going to become uncomfortable. And then then American democracy will kick in. Then we will vote the bastards out and we'll get new people in. But it's going to take time. It's going to take time. It's going to be painful.
Then there's this gem from the ancient political campaign trail. Quintus Cicero's advice to his bro Marcus. If there was a political campaigning for dummies book in ancient Rome, Quintus would have been the author. Basically, he said, hey, remember all those clients you represented? It's time to collect those favors. And while you're at it, why not stretch the truth a bit and sling some mud at your opponents? Does this remind you of anything from our modern times? Lies, false promises, and scandalous allegations, just a typical Tuesday in ancient Rome, but let's be honest, it's also a typical Tuesday now. Oscar Wilde once said, I can resist everything except temptation. Sounds like every voter ever, doesn't it? Kind of what we're getting to. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
It is noteworthy that the percentage of women who register to vote and cast a ballot is consistently higher than the percentage of the men who do so. End of quote. Repeat the line. Women are not without electoral and or political, or maybe precise, not and or.
We've got our apps, our drones, our virtual reality, but at the core, we're just like those Romans, falling for the same old tricks. Maybe in another 2,000 years, they'll be talking about us, but until then, let's enjoy our modern bread and circuses, Netflix, and a side of pizza. At the end of the day, Rome's got a story that we all need to hear, not because it's ancient history, but because, let's face it, history has a funny way of repeating itself. And if we're not careful, we might just end up as another chapter in a future history book titled The Decline and Fall of, well, you get it. We've seen this movie before, from the Hoopta Empire to the Song Dynasty, from Spain to Britain. Each time it's the same plot with just different actors.
Some of the bravest, the most inspiring people I've ever known.
You're welcome.
But there is hope, as throughout history, people have turned the tide. The Renaissance, the Victorian era, the Meiji Restoration, all led by determined folks who refuse to see the world crumble. As we stand on the brink, peering into a Roman redux, Bitcoin might just be our ticket to safer shores. Instead of succumbing to history's repetitive beats, we have a unique chance to pivot, to choose actual financial stability and innovation over the siren song of economic collapse. And guys, we know the history of statism is rife with the theft of people's personal property. If you want to protect your generational wealth and make sure that you're doing it the right way, remember, not your keys, not your cheese. The Bitcoin Way is your IT team in the Bitcoin world, and you can schedule a 30-minute call with them using the link below if you need help with wallet and nodes, no KYC purchases, and just in general best practices. They can get you started on your Bitcoin journey. Rome might have its gladiators, but we got Bitcoin warriors ready to champion a brighter, decentralized financial future in which money is separated from state. It's kind of becoming that time for America to decide, do we tread the worn path of historic empires?
Look what I've created!
Or do we chart a bold new course with Bitcoin as our compass? So America, are we just gonna binge watch our own downfall? Or will we get off the couch and change the channel? The script isn't written yet, and the ending, well, it's kind of up to us. Hey, the ball's in our court. Let's make history, not repeat it. Thanks for tuning in today, guys. Remember to like, share, subscribe, spread the sound money gospel, and be sure to tune in to Simply Bitcoin Live Monday through Friday at 12:15 Eastern Standard Time, and set those notifications because Simply Bitcoin originals, shorts, highlights, we're dropping those all day, every day. We have content coming at you from all directions, and if you would like to check out some more educational content like this one, go ahead and check out these. Continue going down the rabbit hole. Keep tuning in. Follow us on Twitter for the latest news, and we will be your guide through the peaceful Bitcoin revolution. I'll catch you all tomorrow. Peace.